Now in our Sunrise Live, after years of debate, June 19th, aka Juneteenth, is now officially a federal holiday. We're breaking down what that means and how you can celebrate in the Twin Cities this weekend. President Joe Biden just signed legislation making Juneteenth the 12th federal holiday at the White House yesterday after the Senate gave the bill the green light earlier in the week. Juneteenth commemorates when the last slaves in the South were finally set free 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. In a tweet, the president encouraged Americans to learn from our history, celebrate our progress, and grapple with the distance we still have to travel. And in the wake of George Floyd's murder and nationwide protests, the significance of Juneteenth isn't lost on the local community.
We deserve a sort of equality that goes beyond just beyond symbolism, beyond messaging, beyond the significance of a day off, right? Because it's a day off for everyone. To leave white supremacy in the background and really just think about blackness, black community, breaking bread, being with each other.
Yeah, good point there. Now, there's a bunch of events happening around the Twin Cities Metro this weekend where you can celebrate Juneteenth with food, entertainment, and conversations with your neighbors. And that includes a week of panel discussions. For a list of more events and resources to help you understand the new federal holiday, you can find details at KARE11.com/sunrise. But yeah, definitely something I'm excited about, you guys, and get the conversation flowing on this.
Yeah, long overdue for sure.
Guy, what's the one thing